Hello and thanks for joining us for this special show about France's love affair with American film. I'm talking about the Deauville American Film Festival, which is celebrating its 45th birthday. France 24 are partners with the event this year. Let's cross live to the French seaside town where we can join Genie Godula and our film critic Lisa Nesselson. Hello, guys. Hello there. Now, you've been hosting this festival, Genie, and covering it for more than a decade. What's it all about?
Well, as you said, this is the 45th year of the American Film Festival here in Deauville. It was created to celebrate friendship between France and the United States. And as for the place where they decided to hold this festival, it's here in Normandy because, of course, we're just a few kilometers away from the famous D-Day beaches of 1944. Now, at the beginning of the festival, there was no competition. It was just a place for great Hollywood stars to come. And we saw people at the beginning of the festival like Geena Davis, Gregory Peck, Shirley MacLaine, Gloria Swanson, Elizabeth Taylor. Then, 25 years ago, they decided to create a competition at the height of the independent film movement in American cinema. And since then, there's been some really fantastic films that have come out of the competition, haven't there, Lisa?
Absolutely. Like 25 years pretty much coincides with the rise and semi-fall of American independent film. I was looking over the list, and it's amusing to see that in 1996, what were then the Wachowski brothers won a prize with Bound, and then they went on to do The Matrix and also to become Women Today. Among the top prize winners, I think people would recognize being John Malkovich, Little Miss Sunshine.
Whiplash?
Whiplash, absolutely. Damien Chazelle was here with his first film. Then he went on to make La La Land. And Ryan Coogler was here with his first film, which I don't believe won a prize, Fruitvale Station, but now the world knows him as the guy who made Black Panther.
And for the 45th anniversary, there are some pretty big stars, aren't there, Genie?
Absolutely. This year we saw Pierce Brosnan, James Bond, one of the former James Bond himself, who was here for a tribute that was paid to him by the hands of French Oscar-winning director of Indochine, Régis Varnier. Also, Johnny Depp was here, that icon of American cinema as well, who got his tribute from the hands of the jury president this year. Another film icon in her own right, French actress Catherine Deneuve. And for all of you Game of Thrones fans out there, they're having a whole Game of Thrones marathon this year at Deauville. And they also celebrated Sansa Stark herself, the young actress Sophie Turner, who got the Rising Star Award.
Well, Genie, you've been speaking to the stars on the red carpet. Let's take a look.
It is a very romantic festival. They have the greatest respect and understanding for filmmakers. I came here for the first time with a film called The Thomas Crown Affair.
It's a festival that considers a lot of talent and a lot of new talent, and even slightly more avant-garde films.
It's a very strange thing when you're really kind of doing something like acting that you love so much and it just feels like a hobby, and then all of a sudden I get an award for it from Deauville, and so the past recipients have been so incredible and people that I look up to so much.
And another star at the festival is Thelma and Louise actress Geena Davis. Now, she's here with the new documentary, This Changes Everything, about discrimination against women in Hollywood. France 24 sat down with the actress. Here's a glimpse of the film.
The film explains how, in the very early days of film, nobody knew what they were doing. You know, it was all being invented, and women were absolutely equally powerful. They ran studios. They were big stars and directors and all that. But then when the film industry started making a profit, banks got involved, and banks didn't want to finance women, basically. And so the women were kind of driven out, unfortunately, which is a shame.
Media has the power to educate, to shape people's thoughts. It also has an incredible power when you get to see someone who's like you on screen.
Women's creative input is not making it into our nation's storytelling.
Most of television and most of film is men making stuff for other men.
Now, Lisa, you've seen This Changes Everything. Is it a good watch?
Well, it's a very, very educational watch. It's overwhelmingly full of statistics that have to make you sit back and think. When we think of the 1964 civil rights movement in America, we tend to think of unfairness toward black American citizens. But it turns out that the legislation that came out of that in 1964 also prohibits discrimination against anyone, anybody in the workplace. And yet Hollywood makes 80% of the entertainment the rest of the world sees. And a teeny tiny number of the top grossing films are made by women. So there's something to be corrected there, and the statistics are there to make it happen. So it's very educational.
And Jeannie, women are really headlining this year's festival, aren't they?
They certainly are, but I have to point out, Eve, that this festival has really made a big effort in recent years to find this kind of gender balance that's talked about in Geena Davis's documentary. But this year in particular, you really do feel it. 6 of the 14 films in competition are directed by women. That's practically unheard of in a festival of this size. Those include films by Daniel Lesovitz with her transgender drama Port Authority, Annie Silverstein's Texas Set Bull, and Jennifer Reeder's thriller Knives and Skin. Now, 3 female actresses are also being honored with the Deauville Talent Award. Those include Geena Davis, who we saw just a moment ago, but also Kristen Stewart and Sienna Miller. And women are heading up both juries as well. I mentioned earlier Catherine Deneuve, who's heading up the main competition jury, and French actress Anna Mouglalis, who's heading the emerging talents jury.
And Lisa, your favourite film so far is a female-led drama, isn't it?
Absolutely, which was written and directed by a man, but one with an incredible insight into female psychology. I'd just like to jump in here and say I went through the winners over the past 25 years. In order to win a prize, you have to have your film shown. 17 prizes have been given to female directors at this festival in a quarter of a century. But that's because women get to make the independent films, not necessarily the big budget ones. So The Wolf Hour is an absolute tour de force performance by Naomi Watts as a once successful writer who has been holed up in her apartment in the South Bronx in the summer of 1977 for, it could be years. She has a condition. She's terrified to go out, but not because of the violence on the streets, because she's scared to go anywhere and do anything. It's an incredible performance. Let's take a look.
It's been happening like this. Who is it? I don't know. Sometimes 2, 3 times a night. I go to answer it and no one's there.
Screw this. I'm gonna go find out.
No, please don't.
Jeannie, there are also some controversial people in film in Deauville this year, like convicted sex offender Roman Polanski and the director Nate Parker, who's being followed by controversy relating to a rape allegation from his college days, which he was cleared of. And Woody Allen's film opened the festival, didn't it? But Deauville is clear on its stance that art can be separated from the artist.
It's certainly trying to do just that, Eve. And for the most part, I'd say the French and the European press do keep that distinction between a film and the filmmaker who made that film, even if he does have some controversy in his past. For example, Roman Polanski's new film, An Officer and a Spy, which is about a major anti-Semitism case from the 19th century in France, the Dreyfus Affair. That film just won the Lion d'Argent, which is the jury prize at the Venice Film Festival last week. Now, having said that, there was a certain amount of eye-rolling, at least from the U.S. press, when it came out that those 3 directors that you mentioned, Polanski, Woody Allen, and Nate Parker, were linked to this year's Deauville Festival in some way, especially with its emphasis on women, as we were saying this time around. I hosted the press conference with Nate Parker for his film American Skin, and Lisa asked a really great question about just that.
I asked him whether, because he had gotten an 8-minute standing ovation in Venice and won a prize, and I suspected the reaction here would be very warm. 5-minute standing ovation, 1,500 people who sincerely found the film a worthwhile, emotional, moving experience. I asked him if he thinks that perhaps people just look at films differently now across this divide of the filmmakers' past actions or alleged past actions and the work they actually have to offer the world.
With everything in my soul, I'm going to use my art to address things that need attention, because it's not happening anymore as much as it should be. I don't care what they say about me, what they think about me. I don't care. I'm going to make art for our children's children. That's what I'm going to continue to do.
And Lisa, I know you really like Nate Parker's film American Skin, a drama about racial injustice in the US. You've also been enjoying several movies and documentaries inspired by music and sound.
There's two terrific documentaries that fit that description. One is called Making Waves, the story of cinematic sound, directed by a woman sound effects editor, sound editor, and she goes back and tells us everything about how incredibly important the sound atmosphere is in a film to the way we receive it, not just if the music is, you know, you're supposed to be scared. But she starts with a baby in the womb, and the first thing we hear is our mother's heartbeat. So we hear before we see, and then she just runs with that. And I also was very impressed by a new documentary about the great jazz legend Miles Davis, a man who packed more living into 65 years than any 10 other people. And it's called Miles Davis, Birth of the Cool. And of course, Gorinda Chanda, a woman director who made a little thing called Bend It by Beckham, is back with a wonderful film called Blinded by the Light, which is based on the true story of a Pakistani heritage young man. He's finishing up high school in London in the Thatcher era. He hates his life. He hates the way his family's attitudes are affecting everything he says and does. He considers himself British. A friend gives him Bruce Springsteen albums about 10 years after Bruce was really at the top of the charts, and they change his life. Let's take a look.
I listen to everything. I can feel it all right here. It's like Bruce knows everything I've ever felt, everything I've ever wanted. My poems, they're not brilliant, but they're mine.
You think that this man sings for people like us?
But he talks to me. You cannot be serious, mate.
Well, Genie and Lisa, thank you so much for joining us, and enjoy the rest of the Deauville Film Festival. It's been a pleasure to have you. Deauville wraps up this weekend when the prize winners will be announced. You can see the rest of our coverage and interviews with the likes of Pierce Brosnan and Sophie Turner on our website and on social media. Thanks for joining us. There's more news coming up on France 24 after this.